All right, guys, this is going to be section 7 of Silly Salmon. This should be actually a shorter one. What we're going to be doing in here is we're going to do a quick animation for our log, and we're going to make it so it actually gets smashed if you hit it with a power up. And then we're basically going to set up local storage. And what the local storage is going to do is actually going to save the data to that local device that you're playing it on. So it's going to actually keep track of your coins and your power ups from playthrough to playthrough. So that's a really useful tool to have. Before we get started on that, we're going to do one quick little touch-up thing. And I may or may not have mentioned this in a previous section, but you'll notice when I run my game that these little lane markers are still visible. And you want to make sure that those are invisible. We had them visible at first just so that we could see them and make sure that the lanes were all working. But in your end game, you do not want those visible. So depending, like I said, I don't remember if I told you to make these invisible or not in an earlier section, but in case I didn't, what you want to do is go to your project window on the right. You want to scroll down and you want to find the lane marker right here. So click on the lane marker from the right window. It's going to highlight all three of them. And you're just going to scroll down and turn the initial visibility off. So it's invisible. And then when you run the game, the markers definitely should not be visible. And you should just see your salmon swimming around. Okay. All right. So continue on to the main part of section 7. Double click your log here. So just make sure you're on your main game layout and double click your log. We're going to add a new animation. So in the upper right, you can just right click it, add an animation. Okay. And this animation 1, we're going to rename it Smashed. So let's rename it and we'll call it Smashed like that. Okay. And this is going to be a 3-frame sprite. So I'm going to go down to the animation window at the bottom, right click. We're going to import frames. And I think it's from files. I think they're separate files. We'll double check that though. So if I go into here, there is a broken log folder. So I'm going to open that up. And there's the 3 there. So I'm going to hold Control and click each one. And then I'm going to click Open. And then you're going to have the frame 0 down here. You want to delete that frame 0 by clicking it and pressing delete. Okay. What we will do is the presentation doesn't say to crop them. So I don't think we'll crop it. I think we'll just leave it. But we do want the origin on the bottom. So I'm going to make sure you click on this origin button here. Right click and quick assign to bottom. And then you want to right click the word origin again, and you want to apply it to the whole animation. So it does all 3. Yep, and it should, oh yeah, I'm glad we didn't crop it because you can see it uses that whole space because the animation needs that. So kind of a general rule for animation, they all line up well. You want to make sure that the box or this actual size of the object is big enough to fit every animation in it. And then the other ones will just have more empty space, but that way it's lined up really nice. So yeah, that's correct. We do not want to crop that. So I'm glad we did not. We have our smash animation and then our defaults. We're good to go there. We do want the animation speed to be 9 on smashed. So go ahead and change that to 9. And you want to make sure it's not looping. Okay. So that should be good there. We have the animation set. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our ES game. And we want to find the event where the salmon hits the log. So that's going to be an obstacle collisions. And it's going to be, for me, it's this event 57. It could be a different number depending on what you've got, but it's the salmon overlapping log. This is what we want to look at. Actually, no, what we're going to do is we're going to do the salmon land first. So sorry, go up to 56. We're going to do the salmon land collisions first. Okay. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to make the power-ups actually work. So we're going to make it so you only get this game over stuff if you don't have the power-up. And then we'll do another sub event on what would happen if you do, or, so one event's going to be if you have the power-up and one event's going to be if you don't. So there's going to be 2 sub events on this. So let's right click on one of these green arrows on the land collision event. We're going to add a sub event and we're going to do system compare variable. And we want to know if land equals 0. So this relates to if we have the land power up or not. Okay. All right. So if land equals 0, that means we don't have any land power ups. That's when it's going to do the game over. So you're going to take these 3 game over events and you're not going to copy them. You're actually physically going to move them down. Okay. Because if you leave the events up here, the game over is going to trigger anytime you collide with any of these, no matter what. So to make it only apply to land equals 0, we have to physically move it down and just put it here. Then on this land equals 0, we're going to right click here in this open space. We're going to do add else. Okay, so now this else event would basically mean, it essentially means that the land is greater than 0. Okay, so now if the land is greater than 0, we actually want the salmon to survive. So what's going to happen is instead of doing the game over code, we're just going to subtract 1 from the land variable. So I'm going to add an action, system, subtract from land, and 1. Okay, so it's going to take 1 from the land variable, and then we need to make sure that the text land will update with the new value. So I'm going to add an action, and it's going to be for the text land amount. So we want to do text land amount. We want to set text, and we're just going to set it no quotation marks. We're just going to type in land, so it just tells us what the land variable is. Okay, so just keep in mind anytime that we are adding or taking away from one of these variables, we have to tell the text to update it so that the text will actually show the accurate number. Okay, and the order here is important. It needs to subtract it first and then update the text. Okay, so that's what that one should look like. All right, so now let's go down to 59. Let's do the log stuff. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to have two sub events. We're going to have this one and then the else, but we're going to, for the log, we're going to use the smash power-ups. We want to know if smash is 0. So on event 59, the overlapping log, I'm going to right click in the open space. I'm going to add a sub event. I'm going to do system, and I'm going to do compare variable. And we're going to do smash is equal to 0. Okay. And then if smash is equal to 0, we want to take the game over events. Now this time we do want to copy them. So if I hold control and I click all 3 of these, I want to hold control and drag it down to the smash 0 on the overlapping log. Okay, and you should still see the game over events on the land 0, and you want to see them on the smash 0. Because that's basically if we don't have the land power up and we don't have the smash power up on these instances, we would want a game over. Okay. And then on the smash 0, we're going to right click over here and we're going to add the else. Okay, so there's the else there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change the logs animation to the smash animation. So I'm going to add an action for log. We're going to set animation. And I'm going to type a quotation mark, and I should see smashed like that. Okay. Then we have to subtract 1 from the smash variable. So system subtract from smash 1. And then we have to update the text. So I'm going to add an action. And this is going to be text smash amount. Set text. We're just going to set it to smash. Okay. It's very important that you're using the correct text object. So it's a very common mistake. So make sure that on the land else here, that it says text land amount set to land. And on the smash one here, it says text smash amount set text to smash. If you put text smash description, then it's going to be the wrong thing and it's not going to work. So just make sure you're very accurate with that. All right, so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the local storage. So I'm just going to minimize all this for now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to your object type folder here. And the local storage is the same as how we'd add like a keyboard or a mouse or a sprite. So I'm going to right click on the object type folder. I'm going to add a new object. And then we want to type in local storage. So it's going to be this guy right here. You can just double click it. And once again, the local storage, it just shows up here on the side. It's not something we physically see. It's just saying that we can program with it now. Okay. So what the local storage is basically we're going to use it to store your coins and your power-ups. So basically what we have to tell the computer is when to add the items to the storage and when to retrieve them back from the storage. And so we have to make sure that the computer's updating at certain times, so it's updating those values properly and we're retrieving them at the right time. That's basically how it works. It's basically like a storage unit saved to your computer where we're going to put the values and we're going to retrieve them later. So we're going to start by going to ES start. Okay. And you're going to go to your on start of layout. And what we have to do is we have to check if an item exists in the storage. Okay. So we're going to add an action for local storage. let's see, local storage. Okay. And then what we want to do is we want to check item exists right here. Check item exists. And it wants to know what the key is. So the key basically, um, what this is referring to is something called like a key value pair. Okay. So basically the key is going to be the name we're assigning to the value. So we're going to make a key right now. We're creating this. We're going to make a key called salmon coins, all one word, just like that, salmon coins. Okay. Later on, so right now it just knows that we're going to look for something called salmon coins. Now we haven't actually created it or haven't told it like where to assign that yet, but we'll do that later. But what we're going to do is the value that we're going to associate with salmon coins is just going to be the coin global variable. So later on, we'll take the coin global variable, we're going to attach it to this so that it will be able to grab that and refer to it as the salmon coin. Okay. All right, so then we're also going to create one for the smash and land power up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click this local storage event. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to right click it again and I'm going to paste and I'm going to right click it again and I'm going to paste. Okay. And then the second one, instead of salmon coins, we're going to call it salmon smash. Okay. And then the third one, we're going to call salmon land. Okay. So basically, this is on our ES start, right? So this is the first thing when we load up the game. It's going to check and see if any of these values exist. So what it's going to do, it's going to check from a previous playthrough if we've stored values for these. Okay. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add some new events down here. So we're going to add an event for local storage, and we're going to do one that's called on item get. This one right here. And we're going to try to get salmon coins. Now, I'm going to try something here. Okay, so this is tricky. This one will not, this is one of those ones where when we create it, it doesn't automatically remember it when we type a quotation mark. So you guys have to really check your spelling and your casing. So I want to say on item get, and I want to do salmon coins exactly the same way as I wrote it the first time. So the way I did mine was I did salmon with a capital S, no spaces, and coins with a capital C. That's the way I wrote mine. So if you want to do it like mine, make sure all of yours are consistent like that. Okay. If you did it all lowercase or all uppercase, then you just need to make sure you're consistent with how you wrote it here. So anytime you refer to it, it's got to be exactly. Okay. It's going to be a little tricky. So if anything in your local storage doesn't work in the end, you're going to have to go and double check your spelling on every time you refer to that local storage. Okay. Okay. So then if we're going to get, so when we're trying to get the local storage, okay, so right now we're checking for it, but anytime that we want to get it, we have to set the coins to the value. So I'm going to add an action system. We're going to set the value of our actual coins, right? And the value for that is going to be coming from the local storage. So we're going to have to type in local storage item value, okay? So basically what this means is anytime that we are trying to get the salmon coins from local storage, it's going to actually retrieve whatever the value of our coins variable was that we stored in there. Okay. Okay. And then what we can do is let's copy this event two more times. So I'm going to right click on the green arrow. I'm going to copy. I'm going to right click on the green arrow again and I'm going to paste. Right click the green arrow again and paste. And then we're going to do one of these for salmon smash and salmon land. So I'm going to double click. We're going to do salmon land right here. And then here, instead of setting coins, we're going to set land. Okay. And then this one we're going to change to smash. So here we're going to do salmon smash. Make sure you write it exactly how you did the first time. And then here we're going to set smash. All right, so here's what it should look like. It should say on salmon coins get, set coins to the local storage item value, on salmon land get, set land to the local storage item value, and then on salmon smash get, set smash. Okay, that's what that should all look like. Now, let's say we're doing our first playthrough, right? The very first time you load up the game, your storage is going to be empty. So we have to tell it what to do if the storage is empty. So I'm going to add another event down here. And we're going to do local storage. And we're going to do one that's called on item missing, which is right here. And we're going to say if there's no salmon coins. Okay. And so if the salmon coins is missing, hold on one second. I want us to make sure. Okay, and there's an event that I missed earlier. We'll have to add it. Okay, so on salmon coins missing, let's go back to this. We have to set all of the local storage values to 0. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add an action for local storage, and then we're going to do set item. Okay, and then we have to type the key and the value. Okay, so for the key, we're going to say salmon coins, and the value is going to be 0, no quotation marks. It's a very common mistake that students put the 0 in quotation marks here, which is very bad because um, when you put the 0 in quotation marks, it reads it as an actual character, like a word. So it's just going to be like the word of the number 0. It's not actually going to be the actual number. So you want to do no quotation marks on the value. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to copy paste this. So I'm going to copy, right click paste, right click paste again. And then basically we want to set the smash and the land to 0. Because if you haven't stored anything for coins, then there's no way that you would have power-ups. So the power-ups are also going to be at 0. So we're just going to say salmon smash and land. So let's do land on this one. Let's do smash on this one. All right, and I think I'm going out of order from the presentation because I think I skipped something. So let me just double back here a little bit. So we have on item exists. Yes, okay, so I forgot to say if it exists. So we have on salmon coins missing, but we have to do on salmon coins exists, right? And I just want to double check here. Yep, so we did that. Yep, okay. So let's do another one of these. So we're going to add an event for local storage. And we want to do on item exists. So on item exists salmon coins. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it by the green arrow. And I'm going to move it up above here because I should have done it up here is where I should have put it. That's my bad. So on salmon coins exists, just drag that up to right below the play button touched here. Okay. Okay. So when salmon coins exists, then we want to actually get the values of the items. So I'm going to add an action for local storage. I'm going to do get item, and we want to get salmon coins. And then we also want to get the land and the smash as well. So I'm going to copy and paste these. So I'm going to do copy, paste, right click, copy, right click, paste. If you like doing the control drag, you can do that too for copying and pasting. Okay, so now we have to get salmon land. We have to get salmon smash. Okay, so let's just kind of take a look at this really quick. So basically, on start of layout, it's going to see if any of these exists. Okay, if salmon coins exist, so that means you've done at least one playthrough and we've stored a value of coins in there, then it's going to have the local storage is basically going to store whatever the values of coins, land, and smash were on your last playthrough. That's what it's going to do. Okay. And then when we actually get salmon coins, which triggers right here, so after we get them, then it's going to set our actual coin value to whatever value was stored in the storage. Same thing for land, same thing for smash. Okay. Then alternatively, if we start the game and there is no local storage for salmon coins, then we're just going to set all of our default values to 0 in the local storage. Okay. That's basically what this page is saying. And this is all on ES start. Okay. All right. Now what we're going to do, and we're almost done already. Okay. We need to do something on the ES store as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this set to 0 items, all of these right here. Or no, not these ones here. Sorry, we're going to go to the ES store. We're not ready to copy yet. Go to ES store. And then we want to look at on play button touch. So this last event here, okay? Basically, when we're in the store, we probably have purchased something, right? Typically, when you go to the store, you have coins, you can buy stuff. So what we're going to do is when you touch the play button, that's basically when you're done buying stuff in the store. So at that moment, we have to store all the values for your coins and your power-ups so the game knows how much you have. So we're going to add an action, and we're going to do local storage, and we're going to set item. And we are going to set the key for salmon coins. Okay, and for the value, no quotation mark. We want it to be the coins global variable. So it should be coins with the green globe next to it. Okay. And then what I would do is I would copy and paste this 2 more times. Copy, paste, and paste. And then we want to do the same thing for smash and land. So we're going to set salmon land. Whoops. To the value is going to be land without quotation marks. Okay. And then down here, salmon smash to the smash variable is right here. Okay, so it should look like this. Now, just so that you know, anywhere that we're doing these get or set items and we're referring to salmon coin, salmon land, salmon smash, if even one character is off on any of those, there will be an error somewhere in your game. So as you're testing the storage, if something doesn't work, you're going to have to just review all of these and make sure your spelling is exact. And it is case sensitive. So if I threw a lowercase c on this one here, that whole thing wouldn't work. Okay. So just keep that in mind. All right. Now what we're going to do is on our ES game, there's another spot where we want to set these values the same. So we're going to copy these 3 local storage events. So you're going to click on the first one, hold control, click on the next one, hold control, highlight the next one. So you want all 3 highlighted. Then you're going to right click on it and you're going to do copy. Then we're going to go to ES game and we want to go to this game over equals 1. Because basically when the game over equals 1, we want to basically we want to set all those values. So I'm going to right click on this game over 1 and I'm going to paste. And it's going to paste those in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the play again and the coins on the top. It technically doesn't matter, but we're going to do it there. And then on this event, the moment game over equals 1, it's going to try to trigger this as many times as possible in that split second. So we want to make sure it only does it 1 time. So on my game over equals 1, I'm going to add another condition. So I'm going to right click over here, add another condition, and then we're going to do system, and we're going to do trigger once while true. So trigger, just type in the word trigger and you'll get trigger once while true. So it should say game over equals 1, trigger once. It's going to do all this stuff here. So basically when we die, it's going to basically, the local storage is going to get our coin, land, and smash variables, and it's going to store them into these values. And that's where it gets those values from, okay? And that is basically it for section 7.